Real Madrid is not just a football.
Just a few days ago, most football analysts believed France had everything needed to win the World Cup. The squad was filled with world-class players. Kylian Mbappé was in outstanding form. Ousmane Dembele was creating chances from every angle. Aurelien Tchouameni controlled the midfield. William Saliba and Ibrahima Konate formed one of the strongest defensive partnerships in international football. On paper, France looked like the complete team. Many betting companies even listed France as one of the biggest favorites to lift the trophy. So, what happened? How did a team packed with world-class talent lose 2-0 without ever looking fully in control? Was it simply a bad day? Did Didier Deschamps make tactical mistakes? Or did Spain expose weaknesses that nobody had noticed before? Today we're going to break down this match in detail. Not just the goals, not just the highlights, but the tactical battle that decided everything. Because this wasn't a match won by luck, it was won by intelligence. From the very first whistle, Spain made one thing perfectly clear. They were not going to play France's game, instead of rushing attacks. But the tactical battle that decided everything. Because this wasn't a match won by luck, it was won by intelligence. From the very first whistle, Spain made one thing perfectly clear. They were not going to play France's game, instead of rushing attacks. Instead of relying on individual brilliance, Spain forced France into uncomfortable situations through patience, positioning, and relentless ball circulation. France expected an open game. Spain created a chess match. Every movement without the ball, every passing triangle, every defensive rotation, had a purpose. And within the first 15 minutes, it became obvious that France's biggest strength, their athleticism, would not be enough. Spain controlled something far more important. They controlled the rhythm. Whenever France wanted to increase the tempo, Spain slowed it down. Whenever France wanted to press, Spain escaped with one-touch passing. Whenever Mbappé looked ready to attack, a second Spanish defender immediately arrived to close the space. This wasn't just defending. This was tactical preparation at the highest level. One of the biggest questions before kickoff was how Spain would stop France's explosive transition attacks. The answer turned out to be surprisingly simple. Don't allow France to transition at all. By keeping possession for long periods and maintaining compact positioning after losing the ball, Spain prevented France from attacking the open spaces where they are normally at their most dangerous. As the game progressed, something unusual happened. France stopped dictating the match. Instead, they started reacting. And whenever one of the world's most dangerous teams begins reacting instead of controlling, problems quickly follow. In the next section, we'll break down exactly how Spain dominated the midfield, why France's pressing completely failed, and how those tactical details eventually led to Spain taking control of the match. The first 15 minutes revealed the true plan of both managers. France wanted to press high, recover the ball quickly, and attack before Spain could organize defensively. Spain had a completely different idea. Rather than forcing vertical attacks, Luis de la Fuente instructed his players to stay patient, recycle possession, and manipulate France's defensive shape. Every pass had a purpose. Every movement was designed to pull French players out of position. One of Spain's biggest strengths throughout the tournament has been positional play. Instead of chasing space, Spain creates space. When Rodri dropped deeper to receive the ball, France's midfield had a difficult decision to make. If they followed him, gaps opened behind them. If they stayed in position, Rodri had time to dictate the tempo. That hesitation became one of the key tactical advantages for Spain. Meanwhile, Spain's fullbacks constantly stretched the pitch, forcing France's wide players to defend deeper than they usually prefer. As a result, France gradually lost one of their biggest weapons, quick transitions through the wings. Normally, France thrives when they recover possession and attack open spaces with pace, but Spain denied them those opportunities by keeping excellent distances between their midfield and defensive lines. Whenever possession was lost, Spain reacted immediately. Instead of retreating, the nearest players pressed aggressively for a few seconds, preventing France from launching fast counterattacks. This immediate pressure disrupted France's rhythm over and over again. Another crucial battle took place in midfield. France's midfielders often found themselves defending rather than building attacks. Instead of controlling possession, they were constantly adjusting their positions to respond to Spain's movement. That meant France's forwards received fewer dangerous passes and were forced to drop deeper to get involved. For attackers like Mbappé, this is far from ideal. The farther he moves away from the penalty area, the less dangerous he becomes. Spain also defended intelligently without the ball. Rather than assigning a single defender to Mbappé, they defended collectively. Whenever he received possession, passing lanes were already closing. The objective wasn't simply to stop him from dribbling. It was to prevent him from accelerating into open space. This small tactical detail changed everything. France still had talented individuals capable of creating moments of brilliance. But football at the highest level is rarely decided by individual quality alone. It is decided by which team controls space better. And during the first half, Spain controlled almost every important area of the pitch. By the time Spain took the lead, it didn't feel like an accident. It felt like the natural consequence of their tactical discipline, intelligent positioning, and patience in possession. At halftime, many expected France to respond with more aggression. After all, this was a team filled with world-class players, capable of changing any game with a single moment of brilliance. But football isn't always about individual talent. Sometimes structure beats quality. And in this match, Spain's structure was simply superior. As France pushed higher up the pitch in search of an equalizer, they unknowingly played into Spain's hands. The spaces between France's midfield and defensive line became larger, their fullbacks advanced higher. And every time possession was lost, Spain suddenly had more room to attack. Instead of panicking after taking the lead, Spain remained remarkably calm. Their midfield continued to recycle possession, slowing the tempo whenever France tried to increase the intensity. This forced France into a frustrating cycle. The more urgently they chased the ball, the more energy they spent, and the less organized they became. One of France's biggest tactical problems was the lack of central progression. In the next section, we'll examine how Spain managed the game after going ahead, why France struggled to change the momentum, and which tactical decisions ultimately secured Spain's place in the World Cup final. Too many attacks were forced toward the wings, where Spain had already prepared defensive overloads. Whenever Mbappé or Dembélé received the ball near the touchline, they were immediately surrounded by multiple Spanish defenders. Instead of facing defenders one-on-one in open space, they were forced into tight areas with very limited options. This reduced France's biggest strength, explosive dribbling. Spain also won another invisible battle, the battle for second balls. After loose touches, blocked crosses, or aerial duels, Spanish players consistently reacted faster. Winning these moments allowed Spain to maintain pressure and prevented France from building sustained attacks. Another key difference was decision-making. France often rushed the final pass. Spain waited. France forced difficult crosses. Spain created high-quality passing angles. France looked increasingly emotional. Spain stayed disciplined. As frustration grew, France became more direct. Long passes replaced patient combinations. Midfield connections disappeared. And every unsuccessful attack only increased the pressure on their own defense. Then came the second goal. More than just another finish, it represented the difference between the two teams. Spain attacked with coordinated movement. Players occupied different vertical channels. The defensive line was stretched. Passing options appeared naturally. France, meanwhile, reacted instead of anticipating. That small difference separated the finalists from the eliminated team. Perhaps the biggest lesson from this match is that modern football is no longer won simply by collecting superstar players. It is won by creating a system where every player understands his role. Spain demonstrated exactly that. Each player knew when to press, when to hold position, when to accelerate, and when to slow the game down. France never completely lost belief, but they gradually lost control. And against a team as organized as Spain, losing control usually means losing the match. In the final part of this analysis, we'll answer one important question. Was France overrated before this match, or was Spain simply the better team on the day? And what does this result tell us about both teams heading into the future? So, was France overrated? Not at all. France remains one of the strongest national teams in world football. They still have one of the deepest squads, incredible pace, elite defenders, and players capable of changing a match in seconds. The problem wasn't the quality of the players. The problem was that, on this particular night, Spain played as a complete team. Throughout football history, we've seen many great squads lose to better organized opponents. This match became another example. Spain didn't have to dominate every statistic. They only had to dominate the most important moments. They controlled space. They controlled possession when necessary. They pressed together. They defended together. And perhaps most importantly, they attacked together. Every Spanish player understood his role. Every movement had a purpose. Every pass supported the next action. France, meanwhile, depended too heavily on moments of individual brilliance. When those moments didn't arrive, there was no tactical solution strong enough to change the game. Another important lesson came from the midfield battle. Modern football is increasingly decided in central areas. Winning the midfield isn't just about making more passes. It's about controlling the rhythm, dictating where the game is played, and forcing your opponent to react. Spain mastered all three. This victory also says something important about Luis de la Fuente. Over the last few years, Spain has rebuilt its identity. Instead of trying to copy the famous 2010 generation, this new team has created its own style. More vertical, more aggressive, more flexible, while still maintaining the technical quality that Spanish football has always been known for. For France, this defeat should not be viewed as the end of an era. Instead, it should be seen as a reminder. At the highest level, talent alone is never enough. Every tournament introduces new tactical challenges, and every champion must continue evolving. Looking ahead, Spain now enters the World Cup final full of confidence. Their balance between defense and attack, their tactical discipline, and their ability to adapt during matches make them one of the most complete teams in international football today. But football always has a way of surprising us. One brilliant performance doesn't guarantee the next. And one defeat doesn't erase years of excellence. That's exactly why we love this game. Because football is never decided on paper, it's decided on the pitch. What do you think was the biggest reason behind France's defeat? Was it Spain's tactical brilliance, France's midfield struggles? Or simply one of those nights where everything went right for one team and wrong for the other?